The following program was paid for by the friends and partners of WLMB-TV 40 Toledo.
There wasn't a lot of Christians in Ukraine at that time, and so I was actually the only Christian in my entire grade level. And so my classmates made fun of me all the time. And that year, I just prayed that God would show me that He still cared for me and that He would help me in school. And so after that Christmas break, when I brought the shoebox to school, it turns out that I had the coolest gift of all of my classmates. And so when they were just showing their stuffed animal or their toy car, I had a full shoebox of gifts.
Welcome to another episode of Main Street, the fastest half hour on television. I'm Dr. Jamie Schmitz. Of course, I'm joined by my co-host for the last 20 years, Virginia Bosse. Well, Virginia, it is beginning to look an awful lot like Christmas around here.
It sure is. It's feeling festive because we're going to have a fun episode. Today we have with us a couple guests from Operation Christmas Child, and we're going to be talking about how a simple shoebox can change the world. But first, let's take a look at this video to tell us more about Operation Christmas Child.
The children receive the gift boxes with such excitement.
Some of them, it's the very first time that they ever received a gift in their lives. Jesus loves you.
That's what Operation Christmas Child is all about, is to reach children of the world with God's love. And we do that through a simple gift.
There's no greater joy than knowing we're getting to be a part of the Great Commission together.
There's no way that you could do this without volunteers. They're incredible. The energy that they have, the excitement that they have.
This is the Good Samaritan work that the Lord is looking for people to do.
When we pray, God takes your gift and He begins to navigate it around the world, and it ends up in the hands of a child. God begins to answer those prayers.
After a child receives a gift box, the child is invited to go through the greatest journey.
They know the story of God, and they can tell others by using the books.
These boxes can be used as a tool to touch a whole community.
The Great Commission, we're to go into all the world to preach the gospel, to make disciples of all nations, to baptize in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Evangelism, discipleship, and multiplication. That's what we do.
It never ceases to amaze me how a simple box can change the world for a child.
Operation Christmas Child is changing lives all over the world, and one of the lives that it has touched is our guest today, Mariya. She is a full-circle story speaker for Operation Christmas Child. Welcome, Mariya. It is an honor to have you here.
Thank you so much. Completely my pleasure.
Mariya, your world was changed as a child when you were 10 years old because Operation Christmas Child gave you a simple shoebox. Would you share your story with us, and what was your life like as a child?
Well, absolutely. I was born and raised in a beautiful country of Ukraine, and I was very fortunate to have two parents who loved and cared for their family very much. On top of that, they were also Christian, which was really rare in my country. There wasn't a lot of Christians, and I was really fortunate to be able to go to church and to learn about Jesus and to develop faith from a very young age. There was a lot of challenges in our family because our country was just rebuilding economically, and many families struggled, and especially ours. My parents were fortunate to have a roof over their heads, which was a one-room apartment in the city where they raised their family.
Now, a one-room apartment, and then you weren't the only child, right?
No.
How many kids were there?
7, but at the time that we received the shoebox, there was 6 of us. I'm the oldest of the children in my family.
Yeah. So you were 10 years old, and how did you receive your Operation Christmas Child shoebox?
I have a pretty unique story of receiving a shoebox. It typically doesn't happen that way. when I was 10 years old and having lots of challenges, my mom became very ill and actually had to travel to Kiev for treatment. And after she was released from the hospital there, she ended up going to church. And it happened to be a Christmas service for the kids. At the end of the service, volunteers found out that she has 6 kids waiting for her at home. So they gave her 3 shoeboxes to take with her. So when she brought them home and we found out where they came from and how mom was blessed with them, we are just completely overwhelmed because our family has never received Christmas gifts. My parents simply couldn't afford to provide that for us at that time.
So you guys get these shoe boxes, and so what kind of reaction did your siblings have? Because like you said, you guys didn't have a whole lot, so this was something special.
Absolutely. At first when we saw the shoe boxes in my mom's hands, we just assumed that they might be new shoes for some of us, because we've never couldn't imagine having gifts in shoe boxes. Usually they come in bags or something else, but not a shoe box. And so we couldn't wait until the morning to open them. We just dropped them in the middle of our living room and started opening them, and completely amazed at the beautiful things that we saw in there. Everything from hygiene items and school supplies. Also finding out all kinds of toys, and even at that time we had candy that we've never seen before, like a candy cane, which are, typical Christmas candy, but for us it was so unique. And also having stuffed animals, little toy cars that we can race with each other, and so many beautiful things. Especially a yo-yo was really cool because that was the most popular toy at that time, that year, and so everybody wanted to have one, everybody needed one, and we had the coolest one because ours was lighting up when we played with it.
That's wonderful. Now, so your mother brings us home. You guys have a great time opening up the shoebox, but you go to school the next day. How did the other school children react knowing that you received this Operation Christmas Child shoebox? What was that experience like?
In my entire childhood, that was actually the biggest challenge for me, was school, because, like I said, there wasn't a lot of Christians in Ukraine at that time, and so I was actually the only Christian in my entire grade level, and so my classmates made fun of me all the time. I was oftentimes excluded from groups and teams and different events, and I struggled with that. And that year, I just prayed that God would show me that He still cared for me and that He would help me in school. And so after that Christmas break, when I brought the shoebox to school, it turns out that I had the coolest gift of all of my classmates. And so when they were just showing their stuffed animal or their toy car, I had a full shoebox of gifts that I was able, some of the gifts that we've never seen before. And so they started asking me questions, and they realized that it was because I was a Christian that I got this, because I didn't know a family that sent it. I had no idea where it came from. And being able to be the light to my classmates and share with them the things that I had in there. And after that time, everything just turned around for me.
So this shoebox really impacted you as a child, maybe your confidence, but what kind of lasting impact has this box had on you?
So not just in school, where the students, after that point, they didn't bully me anymore and I gained new friends, but it was also about the things that were in there too, that God used to answer my prayers and to really inspire my creativity, because I was very creative. I love to draw and paint, and the shoebox had a lot of art supplies in it, especially a little box of crayons. And crayons we've never seen before, just didn't have access to them in Ukraine. And so when we actually opened our box of crayons and compared it to anything else that we knew, we just figured out that the only other thing that comes in the wrapper was candy. So we took off the wrappers and ate them, thinking that it's got to be something so delicious since it looks so cute.
So how does a red crayon taste?
Just like the rest of the colors, it's pretty tasteless. So we just put them back in the box, but it wasn't, until later that it was a new tool for me to experiment with. And later on, when we actually moved to the United States with our entire family, the box of crayons became so important to me, because it was actually one of the first artworks that I did that received a prize, was actually done with a box of crayons. Later on, I went on to study fine arts in college, and I received my education degree as well, and so now I'm teaching in Cleveland, Ohio, and I'm able to share my story of growing up.
As an art teacher?
As an art teacher, yes. So able to share my story of growing up and how art has influenced me, and allowing my students to be creative, to experience different materials, and just to be able to express themselves.
Well, we are certainly glad that you're no longer eating crayons, but instead using them for works of art and inspiring other children. Now, how did you become involved with Operation Christmas Child and become a full circle story speaker?
When our family moved to the United States, we found out about the ministry through our youth leader at church, and right away we started packing them with my siblings and my parents, and we actually developed a pretty fun tradition where 2 of my sisters and myself would go shopping for different gifts to fill the shoebox, and 5 of my brothers would have to figure out how they're going to pay for the shipping of those shoeboxes. And so one time when we were dropping off our shoeboxes at a central collection point, there was one of the volunteers asked us why we were packing so many shoeboxes. And so of course we told them that we've been impacted by this ministry, so now we're so excited to be able to give back and be a blessing to so many kids around the world. And after that, they've gotten in touch with me, and I've been able to find out more about the backstory of the ministry, and just so excited to be able to share my story and how God has been writing it in my life with people, and inspire them to pack shoeboxes, be able to be that living testimony to say, this is all your hard work.
That's awesome.
Now, you shared that your experience was different than most children that receive Operation Christmas Child shoeboxes. So how typically does a child receive it, and you know, what is the goal of, you know, getting one of those shoeboxes into a child's hands?
So many times the shoeboxes these days go to children in need, children that live in orphanages, children in very poor families, or children in the communities where they've never heard the gospel, they've never heard about Jesus. And so when the shoeboxes come into the area, the volunteers there who may be missionaries or pastors, they put together an event, a special event just for kids, where they play games and they hear the gospel presentation, and then they receive this free gift that they didn't deserve. And for a lot of them, it's a symbol of what Jesus did for us on the cross, and they're able to tangibly experience that love. Somebody across the world cared for them, not even knowing them, and then just like Jesus cares and loves us so much. And at that point, a lot of the children may be invited to come back to church or to school to learn, to go through the discipleship process where they learn more about the gospel, and a lot of them end up receiving Christ into their life.
Well, Mariya, thank you so much for sharing your story and inspiring, you know, so many viewers out there. And when we come back, we're going to be talking to Judy, Journay, the area coordinator for Operation Christmas Child, and we're going to talk about how you can get involved.
A lot of these countries will not let the word of Christ into their country without these shoeboxes. So they really are opening doors, and they are the same for the kids in our country. They are a gospel opportunity for these kids to share what they have, what God has blessed them with children around the world that have maybe never ever gotten a gift before in their life.
The mission of Dominion Broadcasting WLMB-TV 40 is to provide Christ-centered television of high technical quality and programming excellence to uplift, unite, educate, challenge, and encourage viewers in a manner consistent with the teachings of God's Word. Won't you join us? Please send your gift today and be a part of the ongoing mission of WLMB-TV 40. Thank you.
WLMB's free monthly program guide keeps you informed about your favorite Christ-centered and family-friendly programming found on WLMB. There's something for the whole family to enjoy, from great Bible teachers to classic family favorites. Plus, you'll find family movies, news from a Christian perspective, local shows Main Street and Pastor's Point, excellent don't-miss documentaries, and much more. Enjoy quality Christian television on WLMB-TV 40 and sign up for your free monthly program guide today.
Now, back to Main Street.
Well, welcome back to Main Street, and you know, it is Christmas season. It is approaching fast, and we are talking about Operation Christmas Child and how a shoebox can change the world. And with us now, we have Judy, Journay, the area coordinator for our Operation Christmas Child for Northwest Ohio. Welcome, Judy.
Hi, it's nice to be here.
Judy, would you share with us, with our viewers, what the goals are for Operation Christmas Child?
Well, Operation Christmas Child actually started in 1993, they packing and distributing shoeboxes. And we actually like to call them gospel opportunities because they demonstrate God's love in a tangible way. And since it has started, we have, God has allowed us to bless over 157 million children in over 160 countries around the world. So our goals are over 11 million. So we are hoping to do that. We also have 10 other countries that partner with Operation Christmas Child, so that actually pack. So.
Well, today you've brought in a couple sample boxes. I see a boys box and a girls box, but we've actually got a really cute video that Operation Christmas Child has provided that can show our audience how simple it is to pack a box. Let's take a look.
So basically you get an empty box, which any box will work. Really? Okay, not any box. Much better. Okay, so now you have your empty box. Now you can pick the age range, and if you want it to be for a boy or a girl. Well, looks like we're gonna be packing for a boy this year. First, you can choose a wow item, such as a soccer ball or a stuffed animal. And you can choose other fun toys, too. Hygiene items, and school supplies. There are, of course, some items you cannot pack, like liquids, food, items related to war, live animals, and don't even think about packing chocolate, because it melts. No candy and no toothpaste. When your gift is finished, you can write a letter and include a photo. When your box is done, you can make your shipping donation online through Follow Your Box. Simply print off your tracking label to see where the destination of your gift will be. And don't forget, it's important to pray for the child that is receiving this gift, because packing a box is a simple way to share the gospel with kids all around the world. Now that your box is done, it's time to get moving.
As you can see, packing a shoebox with Operation Christmas Child is fun and easy. But Judy, what do people do with the shoeboxes once they've got it all together?
Well, once you've packed your shoebox and you put in those special items like the wow gifts and your letter and picture, then you take them to your nearest drop-off location. And in order to find your nearest one, you can just go to our website, which is SamaritansPurse.org/OCC, and right on there they have you know, where you can drop off your box. You just click on that and put in your zip code, and your drop-off location will pop up, the address, and the operating hours. And it's always the third week in November.
All right, coming up soon.
That's right. And the dates for the collection are on the bottom of your screen right now, so you can make sure to drop them off during that week.
All right, and so what impact are the shoeboxes having, you know, within the U.S. and internationally?
The shoeboxes are making a tremendous impact around the world. And I actually got to go to the Ukraine on a distribution this year, and so I got to see firsthand how it is impacting the kids over there. And a lot of these countries will not let the word of Christ into their country without these shoeboxes. So they really are opening doors. They really are planting churches. They are helping the ministers reach out into their communities. When a child does receive a shoebox, it's not just for that child, because they are offered the opportunity for the greatest journey, which we'll talk about later. But they will share the message of Jesus Christ with their families and also with their communities. And so it's just multiplying over seas when they get these. And in our own country, our shoeboxes, we like to call them, like I said before, gospel opportunities. Mm-hmm. And they are the same for the kids in our country. They are a gospel opportunity for these kids to share what they have, what God has blessed them with children around the world that have maybe never, ever gotten a gift before in their life. So we have a story that really kind of touches my heart. A couple years ago, I was at one of the central drop-off locations in Bowling Green, and a little boy came in. He was 8 years old at the time, and he had this whole stack of shoeboxes with him. And so I was talking to his mom, and she said that when he started doing this when he was 4 years old, he came up to his mom and he said, "Mom, I don't want Christmas or birthday presents anymore. I want you guys and the family to pack shoeboxes instead of giving me birthday presents." Wow. And so that's how he started it. And he is now 11 years old. His name is Dylan. He lives in Perrysburg, Ohio, and he is still packing shoeboxes. He brought in 36 shoeboxes last year. He's doing it this year. He actually writes a little article for the Perrysburg magazine on Operation Christmas Child, and he's kind of gone to his neighbors and to his friends and kind of grown it. So it's just to say that, you know, if a 4-year-old can do it, you're never too young and you're never too old to serve the Lord.
Now, are you able to follow up with the recipients of shoeboxes?
We do follow up with the shoeboxes. If you put if you use the tracking label, like they said in the video, Operation Christmas Child will actually send you information of where your shoebox actually went. If you write a letter and you put your email address on it, it's very hard for them to use regular postage because it's very expensive. They don't have access to it. Mm-hmm. But in this world of technology that we have now, it's amazing that, you know, maybe their church or, you know, a neighbor or somebody would have computer access, and they can actually email you back so you can find out, you know, get information back from your child.
Wow, that is fantastic.
It certainly is.
Yeah. So tell us, how can our viewers get involved today? I know there are a lot of them that are watching right now and they're saying, hey, I want to get involved in this Operation Christmas Child. How do they get involved?
Well, they can get involved many different ways. The first way is the easiest and simplest is just to pray for our ministry. Our ministry is covered in prayer, and they can pack a shoebox, they can donate to the ministry, or they can volunteer either at their own church to be a project leader, or they can volunteer. We have a team in Northwest Ohio where you can volunteer year-round. We actually, it sounds like it's just like this part of the year, but actually January we start all over again and do it. And so you can go right online. You can fill out an application form online of VIF, or go online and find out all the information that way.
Oh, very good. Well, I have to tell you that if I was a little boy, I would just absolutely love to get, you know, can you imagine? I mean, I'm looking at this right now, and I'm kind of a child at heart, and I'm like, man, I like this blow-up soccer ball, and I could use those in the shower, and there's a little umbrella back here, and just all kind of really,
that's the pump.
A bicycle pump, and here's a little basketball, and just some other, a matchbox. I just love these toys. If I'm that excited, you know, at my age, can you imagine being a child who's never had a single gift ever given to them at Christmas time? And when they're given this gift by, you know, a pastor or a ministry worker in their city, you know, maybe it's in Indonesia, maybe it's, you know, in Japan, it's somewhere around the world. Can you just imagine the impact that receiving something like this? I mean, it'd be hard to, you know, just have any context to even understand how excited that you would be as a child. And if you're a little girl, to pick up a box and have, you know, a little dolly that you've never had a dolly, or a stuffed animal, or just, you know, some of the hygiene products and stuff like that. I mean, just what an absolutely fantastic thing that must be to receive this box, and then for someone to put it in context of the gospel, you know, that Jesus Christ came, you know, came on Christmas morning. We live on a visited planet, and that, you know, tell the story of Easter, and that he, you know, came to save us from our sins. I mean, it is a wonderful, wonderful program.
And Judy, you guys actually have your program, The Greatest Journey. Maybe you could tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah.
Well, and that's what I was going to say. I mean, as wonderful as this box is and all the gifts, the biggest thing is that they receive the gift of Jesus Christ. So after they receive their shoebox, they are offered the opportunity to participate in a 12-week discipleship program, which is called The Greatest Journey. And during that program that they go through, they learn all about God, all about Jesus' love. And at the end of it, they actually have a graduation for the kids, and they get a Bible in their own language.
Really?
Because when they get their shoebox, they actually get a pamphlet that's called The Greatest Gift, and it is Bible stories in their own language. But last year, one of the most awesome statistics that I have is from The Greatest Journey, that one child every 16 seconds gave their life to Jesus Christ through this mission.
Awesome.
And think about that. I mean, that is just mind-boggling. 4 children every minute giving their life to Christ through this.
And that's what it's all about.
Yes. And that's why we call them gospel opportunities.
Well, how can people find out more about Operation Christmas Child?
Just go online. That's the easiest way. I said it before. It's SamaritansPurse.org. /OCC, and there are full circle stories on there, like you heard of Mariya's story. There's just tons of those on there. It tells you how you can get involved. It tells you how you can pack your box, how you can donate to The Greatest Journey, because for $6 you can sponsor a child with The Greatest Journey. So there's tons of information and opportunities.
Yeah. So for $6, they could be part of the discipleship program.
Yes.
I think you're also telling something earlier in the green room. You were sharing that, you know, not everybody is, you know, maybe they're shut in or something like that, and they can't get out to the stores and buy all these things. Would you share real briefly how people could just buy a box and check different things that they want, and Operation Christmas Child will put that box together for them?
On that same website, yes, you can go there, and they will pack a box for you. It's $25, and you get to pick the items that they put in the shoebox. So you can pack a box online.
So a million options if you want to be involved in Operation Christmas Child. But the most important thing is to be involved. Isn't that right, Virginia?
Absolutely. And so what closing comment or challenge would you like to leave with our viewers?
Well, first of all, I would really just like to say thank you. Thank you to everybody that prays for Operation Christmas Child, that packs a shoebox or that donates, and especially that volunteers their time to OCC, because Jesus left us with the Great Commission, and Operation Christmas Child fulfills that Great Commission. And you do not have to travel halfway around the world to be a disciple. Your shoebox will do it for you. So go out and pack a shoebox.
Well, thank you so much, Judy. It was an honor to have you and Mariya here today. And so we want to encourage you folks out there to prayerfully consider how many shoe boxes to pack, and because we know that you can do more than one, and you can help change the world with a simple shoebox. Thank you for joining us today on Main Street. Be sure to join us next week for another great episode.
We hope that Main Street has been a blessing to you today. Please feel free to contact the following to learn more about the topics discussed on today's show. WLMB would like to thank all the faithful supporters of WLMB that make this program possible. Main Street is a production of WLMB-TV 40 in Toledo. All rights reserved.